The year is 2013. The PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 are beginning to show their age. While rumors and speculation of new consoles run rampant across all games media, it wasn't until May 2013 that Microsoft announced a successor to the Xbox 360, confusingly named
Xbox One.
We're taking a trip down memory lane and watching IGN's reactions and the news around the console launch that would go down in infamy as a critical and optical disaster. This is the launch and reveal of the Xbox One.
This is it, Xbox One. This system is built to amaze on day one and continuously improve over the generation ahead. In designing Xbox One, we've obsessed about every finite detail. In every engineering milestone, at every corner, in every feature, the principles we followed were to be simple, instant, and complete.
But not Xbox One.
Number one.
Xbox ONE1.
I actually like it.
Yeah, it's fine.
It sounds like it's the start of a new, a new direction for Xbox.
The initial reveal of the Xbox One was memorable for all the wrong reasons. On one hand, we were seeing the first real footage of actual next-gen video games. While this isn't the first leap into HD graphics, like with the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, it was the first time games on a console looked, well, HD.
Here, you can see the dog model from Modern Warfare 3. Our new dog model is taken from high-resolution scans of an actual SEAL Team service dog. Every detail is replicated, right down to the scars on the nose and the tattoo inside the ear.
Unfortunately, in the weeks leading up to E3 2013, the confusion surrounding the Xbox One's presumed mandatory online connectivity, lack of game sharing, and an apparent prioritization on everything outside of games would leave many people with more questions than answers.
If my internet goes out for more than 24 hours and I can't check in, I'm screwed. I can't do anything on my Xbox One.
But the public backlash, as these always online rumors have been floating for weeks, if not months now, has been unbelievably venomous.
And it only got worse from there.
I don't think they think of Sony as a competitor anymore.
It certainly doesn't seem like it,
No,
does it?
they're thinking very much of, TV network stations and Amazon and, Apple, and you can see that there was no real play to Sony whatsoever, or Nintendo.
This is the beginning of a new generation of games and entertainment. This is the beginning of truly intelligent TV.
This alliance will not only change the fans' viewing experience, but transform the sport itself.
Skype on Xbox One connects you to family and friends in ways you aren't going to find on other TVs.
We unveiled Smart Glass to enable your devices to work together with your Xbox.
Trending gives me a glance at what everyone in the Xbox Live community is watching.
While it's clear the Xbox One was definitely ahead of its time, the possibility of not being able to share or even buy used games and the need for an always online connection was a much bigger deal back then. While the games industry was well on their way to normalizing a more digital games marketplace like we have now,
We're moving from Microsoft points to real money.
the idea of buying digital games on a console was still something that would take years to completely standardize.
Even whether you're at home in the, in the wilds of the forest without an internet connection.
Yeah.
So it would seem to indicate this may in fact be an always online console.
Some other big stuff for you guys. You were just talking about gamer scores,
Yes.
tags, avatars. Those will be ported over. That's confirmed.
Excellent.
However, the system is not backwards compatible with your 360 games. So keep a hold of your 360 if you really cherish those games. You will not be, using them on your Xbox One. And I don't think Microsoft has really detailed if there's, those older games will be somehow available to access on the Xbox One. So that's something for all gamers to keep in mind.
While backwards compatibility hadn't necessarily been the standard across all console generations thus far, it was still seen as a step back in the bold new direction that Microsoft was taking with the Xbox.
Fortunately, we have a product for people who aren't able to get some form of connectivity. It's called Xbox 360.
Right.
Hot on the heels of Microsoft announcing the successor to the Xbox 360 today, Xbox Live Vice President Mark Whitten told The Verge, quote, "The system is based on different core architecture, so backwards compat doesn't really work from that perspective." Now, this is a lot like the PS4, which also isn't backwards compatible due to different guts. However, the important difference is that the PS4 plans to one day offer former PlayStation titles via the Gaikai Cloud. Whitten said that Microsoft has no such plans, adding, quote, "Microsoft does, however, plan to keep selling the Xbox 360 alongside the new console for the foreseeable future. This isn't about getting rid of the Xbox 360.
While in retrospect, the idea of an always connected, all-in-one entertainment machine doesn't seem too outrageous now, back in 2013 when high-speed internet wasn't as prolific and digital subscription services were still in the early adoption stages, this new entertainment-first directive from Microsoft seemed like a major shift from what gamers loved about the 360.
Shortly after the Xbox reveal event today, Microsoft revealed that its new console does not require a constant internet connection. According to Spike TV's Jeff Keighley, Microsoft's Don Matrick confirmed that the Xbox One is not always on. Now, this news debunks rumors that have been kicking around since last year and building ever since. Earlier this year, controversy over the requirement led to the departure of Microsoft Studios creative director Adam Ornth, also known as the Deal With It guy. Rumors continue to spread even though an alleged internal memo later refuted the feature. The new Xbox, called the Xbox One, will contain a ton of new features. Your games and saves will be stored on the cloud so you can access them from anywhere, though not required. The controller is brand new, and a new 1080p version of Kinect will ship with every Xbox One console.
This is an exciting day for our teams.
Eventually, later that June, E3 2013 was underway, and it was Microsoft's big chance to correct the narrative on their new console.
And as we've been promising, it's all about the games.
We have helped over 200 indie developers launch more than 400 games, totaling over $1 billion in sales.
I'm excited to announce that Xbox One will launch this November in 21 markets around the world at $499 in the US and 499 euros in European markets.
The system finally got a price, and while it was a bit more expensive than their competition, due to the inclusion of a Kinect camera with every Xbox, unfortunately, Microsoft failed to completely address the elephant in the room and make it clear if people can actually share or sell their used games. To add to this, Sony took advantage of the situation and quickly produced this video.
This is how you share your games on PS4.
Thanks.
This single 20-second video was damaging enough to dissuade potential Xbox customers from pre-ordering, as well as overshadow Microsoft's event from earlier that morning.
You may have noticed, Sony has been on a big offensive push against Microsoft recently. At E3, a good 10 minutes of Sony's press conference was a targeted assault on the Xbox One's then planned DRM and used game policies. Then this week, Sony Worldwide President Andrew House referenced Microsoft's messaging again, saying, "While others have shifted their message and changed their story, we were consistent in maintaining a message that is fair and in tune with consumer desires." In an interview with The Guardian, House has talked about Sony's attitude to the competition and the surprisingly direct Xbox One jabs that made their way into Sony's E3 and Gamescom press conferences. House says, "We tend to stay away from overanalyzing what the competition is up to, but I'll characterize it this way. I was surprised. We constructed our E3 presentation because there was somehow a suspicion that the policies and approaches taken by our competition would create an industry trend in that direction."
Let's take a closer look at the fallout from the Xbox One's E3 reveal and how it changed the brand forever.
It's a service-based world. If you think about things and how they get better with an internet connection, that's a design choice that we've made.
While the messaging on sharing Xbox games was not as cut and dry as their competition had framed it, the fact that they didn't have a chance to refute these claims only hurt Microsoft and the Xbox brand further.
The reason we made such a strong statement at E3 and continue to do so is because we were surprised by that. We thought, perhaps slightly naively, that the current model works quite well and was consumer friendly, and our goal was to be consistent on that. But given the speculation that was happening there, it apparently became necessary for us to make a statement and say what our intent was.
And the criticism didn't just end with Sony. Press and consumers alike had much to say about the new Xbox and its mixed messaging.
So I don't think the people outside of this table, outside of the industry, were expecting it to be that much, maybe. And that'll be interesting to see what Sony ends up doing too.
500 is a lot. It's a hard sell.
Microsoft is continuing to adapt to negative online reactions, as is evident by Xbox One's inclusion of a headset, despite previous Microsoft claims to the contrary.
As a leading voice in Xbox gaming throughout the years, Ryan McCaffrey reflects back on where the Xbox One reveal went wrong.
I'll be honest, yes, I think the negative reaction to the Xbox One, looking back 10 years ago now almost, I think it was justified. Microsoft had stepped on rake after rake after rake, just doing all these non-gamer first things. Remember, the Xbox 360 was, if not number one against PlayStation 3, it was neck and neck. It was pretty much a dead heat between those two consoles, and Microsoft lost all of that in the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One generation, and they're still trying to get it back.
Even though the console launched with an impressive 1 million units sold in its first 24 hours, shortly afterwards, Don Mattrick, Xbox's president, had stepped down from his position.
Zynga has announced that Don Mattrick has joined its ranks as Chief Executive Officer. You might better know Mattrick as the president of Microsoft's interactive entertainment business, or the guy who revealed the Xbox One. He'll start in his new role on July 8th, and all of his direct reports are coming under the wing of Microsoft CEO Steve Ballmer. Mattrick had been at Microsoft leading the EAD division, which includes the Xbox, for 6 years, and Xbox Live grew from 6 million to 48 million members in his time. Maybe he can pull off a similar trick with the troubled Zynga, which recently fired more than 500 employees. I asked Microsoft for a statement on the situation, and a rep declined to say anything. Meanwhile, Zynga founder Mark Pincus says that Don is unique in the games business. He can execute on multiple domains: hardware, software, and network.
There's no question that the Xbox One's initial days, its initial launch, didn't do it any favors. In fact, damaged the entire brand significantly. Everything Xbox did in the early Xbox One days, unfortunately, was the wrong move.
While its initial release would go down as one of gaming's most confusing and optically damaging console launches, the Xbox One eventually found critical success with redesigns and a bold new subscription service that would set the tone for the next generation to come.
I find it kind of ironic when people take a step back and think, look, this is a company that hasn't thought about at its core what it means to have great games experiences. And I think in the long run, we'll build a global leading product that people are going to love and embrace.